Okay, for tonight, I'd again like to ask permission to do some readings. Looking at the list, and a lot of the readings that will be coming are from modern or contemporaries teachers. So I thought I would just read some of the suttas, specifically tonight from the Samyutta Nikaya, the connected discourses of the Buddha. A lot of what I'll read is familiar to most of the monastics probably, so just a good refresher. And then if you are unfamiliar with the discourses from the Pali Canon, and just be forgiving of some of the old context, the old language, and just try to adapt what is useful. So the first, most of what I'll be reading tonight, actually everything revolves around the 6 sense bases, which have come up a few times. And then and a couple of the suttas, if I get to them, will be directly related to mindfulness of the body as well. So I'll start with a pair of suttas that Luang Por has already referred to the kind of the gist of the teachings in one of his reflections. So I thought I'd just read the suttas. So this is chapter 2, Sutta 26, called Rohitassa. At Savatthi, standing to one side, the young Deva, Rohitassa, said to the Blessed One, "Is it possible, Venerable Sir, by traveling, to know or to see or to reach the end of the world, where one is not born, does not age, does not die, does not pass away, and is not reborn?" And the Buddha responds, "As to that end of the world, friend, where one is not born, does not age, does not die, does not pass away, and is not reborn, I say that it cannot be known, seen, or reached by traveling." And the Deva responds, "It is wonderful, Venerable Sir, it is amazing, Venerable Sir, how well this was stated by the Blessed One. As to that end of the world, friend, I say that it cannot be known, seen, or reached by traveling. Because once in the past, Venerable Sir, I was a seer named Rohitassa, son of Bhoja, possessed of spiritual power, able to travel through the sky. My speed was such, Venerable Sir, that I could move just as swiftly as a firm-bowed archer, trained, skillful, practiced, experienced, who could easily shoot past the shadow of a palmyra tree with a light arrow. My stride was such, Venerable Sir, that it seemed to reach from the Eastern Ocean to the Western Ocean. Then, Venerable Sir, the wish arose in me. I will reach the end of the world by traveling." So possessing such speed and such a stride and having a lifespan of 100 years, living for 100 years, I traveled for 100 years without pausing, except to eat, drink, take meals and snacks, to defecate and urinate, to sleep and dispel fatigue. Yet I died along the way, without having reached the end of the world. It is wonderful, Venerable Sir, it is amazing, Venerable Sir, how well this was stated by the Blessed One. As to that end of the world, friend, where one is not born, does not age, does not die, does not pass away, and is not reborn, I say that it cannot be known, seen, or reached by traveling. And the Buddha responds, "However, friend, I say that without having reached the end of the world, there is no making an end to suffering. It is, friend, in just this fathom-high carcass endowed with perception and mind that I make known the world, the origin of the world, the cessation of the world, and the way leading to the cessation of the world. The world's end can never be reached by means of traveling. Yet without reaching the world's end, there is no release from suffering. Therefore, truly the world knower, the wise one, gone to the world's end, fulfiller of the holy life, having known the world's end, at peace, longs not for this world or another." Okay, and then we'll go to a sutta which Bhikkhu Bodhi says is basically the commentary, fellow discourse in the Pali Canon that is somewhat of a commentary to the Rohitassa Sutta. This is chapter 35, Sutta 116, entitled Going to the End of the World. Bhikkhus, I say that and this is the Buddha just straight into a quote. Bhikkhus, I say that the end of the world cannot be known, seen, or reached by traveling. Yet, bhikkhus, I also say that without reaching the end of the world, there is no making an end to suffering. Having said this, the Blessed One rose from his seat and entered his dwelling. Then soon after the Blessed One had left, the bhikkhus considered. Now, friends, the Blessed One has risen from his seat and entered his dwelling after reciting a synopsis in brief without expounding the meaning in detail. Now, who will expound in detail the meaning of the synopsis that the Blessed One recited in brief? Then they considered, the Venerable Ananda is praised by the teacher and esteemed by his wise brothers in the holy life. The Venerable Ananda is capable of expounding in detail the meaning of this synopsis recited in brief. By the Blessed One without expounding the meaning in detail, let us approach him and ask him the meaning. Then those bhikkhus approached the Venerable Ananda and exchanged greetings with him, after which they sat down to one side and told him what had taken place, adding, let the Venerable Ananda expound it to us. And then the Venerable Ananda replied, friends, it is as though a man needing heartwood, seeking heartwood, wandering in search of heartwood, would pass over the root and trunk of a great tree standing possessed of heartwood, thinking that heartwood should be sought among the branches and foliage. And so it is with you, the Venerable Ones, when you were face to face with the teacher, you passed by the Blessed One, thinking that I should be asked about the meaning. For friend, knowing the Blessed One knows, seeing he sees. He has become vision, he has become knowledge, he has become the Dhamma. He has become the Holy One. He is the expounder, the proclaimer, the elucidator of meaning, the giver of the deathless, the Lord of the Dhamma, the Tathagata. That was the time when you should have asked the Blessed One the meaning. As he explained it to you, so you should have remembered it. And they respond, surely, friend Ananda, knowing the Blessed One knows, seeing he sees, he has become vision, etc., etc. Okay. That was the time when we should have asked the Blessed One the meaning, and as he explained it to us, we should have remembered it. Yet the Venerable Ananda is praised by the teacher and esteemed by his wise brothers in the holy life. The Venerable Ananda is capable of expounding the detailed meaning of this. This synopsis recited in brief by the Blessed One without expounding the meaning in detail. Let the Venerable Ananda expound it without finding it troublesome. Okay, then listen, friend, and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, friend, the bhikkhus replied. The Venerable Ananda said further, friend, when the Blessed One rose from his seat and entered his dwelling, after reciting a synopsis in brief without expounding the meaning in detail, that is, bhikkhus, I say that the end of the world cannot be known, seen, or reached by traveling. Yet, bhikkhus, I also say that without reaching the end of the world, there is no making an end to suffering. So I understand the detailed meaning of this synopsis as follows. That in the world by which one is a perceiver of the world, a conceiver of the world, this is called the world in the Noble One's discipline. And what, friends, is that in the world by which one is a perceiver of the world, a conceiver of the world? The eye is that in the world by which one is a perceiver of the world, a conceiver of the world. The ear and the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. The mind is that in the world by which one is a perceiver of the world, a conceiver of the world. That in the world by which one is a perceiver of the world, a conceiver of the world, that this is called the world in the Noble One's discipline. Friends, when the Blessed One rose from his seat and entered his dwelling after reciting a synopsis in brief without expounding the meaning in detail, saying, "Bhikkhus, I say that the end of the world cannot be known, seen, or reached by traveling. Yet, bhikkhus, I also say that without reaching the end of the world, there is no making an end to suffering. I understand the meaning of this synopsis in detail to be thus." Now, friends, if you wish, go to the Blessed One and ask him about the meaning of this. As the Blessed One explains it to you, so you should remember it. Yes, friend. Those bhikkhus replied, and then having risen from their seats, they went to the Blessed One. After paying homage to him, they sat down to one side and told the Blessed One all that had taken place after he had left. Adding, "Then, Venerable Sir, we approached the Venerable Ananda and asked him about the meaning. And the Venerable Ananda expounded the meaning to us in these ways, with these terms, with these phrases." And the Buddha responds, "Ananda is wise, bhikkhus. Ananda has great wisdom. If you had asked me the meaning of this, I would have explained it to you in the same way that it has been explained by Ananda. Such is the meaning of this, and so you should remember it." Okay, we'll go just a few suttas on. This will change tones a little bit. Still looking at the six sense bases, but now getting a little bit more into mindfulness. And this is a very practical sutta, and just also it's conversation between two men about monastic life. So keep that in mind. This sutta is 35, chapter 35, 127, and it's titled Bharadvaja. On one occasion, the Venerable Pindola Bharadvaja was dwelling at Kosambi in Gosita's park. Then King Udena approached the Venerable Pindola Bharadvaja and exchanged greetings with him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said to him, "Master Bharadvaja, what is the cause and reason why these young bhikkhus, lads with black hair, endowed with the blessing of youth, in the prime of life, who have not dallied with sensual pleasures, lead the complete and pure holy life all their lives and maintain it continuously?" Great King, this was said by the Blessed One who knows and sees, the Arahant, the fully enlightened one. "Come, bhikkhus, towards women old enough to be your mother, set up the idea that they are your mother. Towards those of an age to be your sisters, set up the idea that they are your sisters. Towards those young enough to be your daughters, set up the idea that they are your daughters. This is a cause and reason, Great King, why these young bhikkhus are able to lead the complete and pure holy life all their lives and maintain it continuously." And then the king responds, "But the mind is mischievous, Master Bharadvaja. Sometimes states of lust arise even towards women old enough to be one's mother. Sometimes they arise towards women of an age to be one's sister. Sometimes they arise towards women young enough to be one's daughter. Is there any other cause and reason why these young bhikkhus are able to lead the complete and pure holy life all their lives and maintain it continuously?" Great King, this was said by the Blessed One who knows and sees, the Arahant, the fully enlightened one. "Come, bhikkhus, review this very body, upwards from the soles of the feet, downwards from the tips of the hairs, enclosed in skin as full of many kinds of impurities. There are in this body head hairs, body hairs, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, flora, spleen, lungs, intestines, mesentery, contents of the stomach, excrement, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, snot, fluid of the joints, and urine. This too, Great King, is a cause and reason why these young bhikkhus are able to lead the complete and pure holy life all their lives and maintain it continuously." Well, that is easy, Master Bharadvaja, for those bhikkhus who are developed in body, developed in virtue, developed in mind, developed in wisdom. But it is difficult for those bhikkhus who are undeveloped in body, undeveloped in virtue, undeveloped in mind, undeveloped in wisdom. Sometimes, though one thinks, I will attend to the body as foul, one still beholds it as beautiful. Is there any other cause and reason why these young bhikkhus are able to lead the complete and pure holy life all their lives and maintain it continuously? Great King, this was said by the Blessed One who knows and sees the Arhat, the fully enlightened one. Come, bhikkhus, dwell guarding the doors of the sense faculties. Having seen a form with the eye, do not grasp its signs and features. Since, if you leave the eye faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and displeasure might invade you. Practice the way of its restraint. Guard the eye faculty. Undertake the restraint of the eye faculty. Having heard a sound with the ear, having smelt an odor with the nose, having savored a taste with the tongue, having felt a tactile object with the body, having cognized a mental phenomenon with the mind, do not grasp its signs and features. Since, if you leave the mind faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and displeasure might invade you. Practice the way of its restraint. Guard the mind faculty. Undertake the restraint of the mind faculty. This too, Great King, is a cause and reason why these young bhikkhus are able to lead the complete and pure holy life all their lives and maintain it continuously. It is wonderful, Master Bharadvaja, it is amazing, Master Bharadvaja, how well this has been stated by the Blessed One who knows and sees, the Arhat, the fully enlightened one. So this is the cause and reason why these young bhikkhus, lads with black hair endowed with the blessing of youth, in the prime of life, who have not dallied with sensual pleasures, lead the complete and pure holy life all their lives and maintain it continuously. In my case too, when I enter my harem unguarded in body, speech, and mind, without setting up mindfulness, unrestrained in the sense faculties, on that occasion, states of lust assail me forcefully. But even when I enter my harem guarded in speech, in body, speech, and mind, with mindfulness set up, restrained in the sense faculties, on that occasion, states of lust do not assail me in such a way. Magnificent, magnificent Master Bharadvaja, the Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by Master Bharadvaja, as though he were turning upright what had been turned upside down, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. Master Bharadvaja, I go for refuge to the Blessed One and to the Dhamma and to the Bhikkhu Sangha from today. Let Master Bharadvaja remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life. Okay, so this is same chapter, chapter 35, Sutta 247. It's the simile of the 6 animals. The first paragraph is a little obscure, so I'm going to start with the second paragraph, if anybody is wondering. And how, bhikkhus, is there non-restraint? And this, I'm assuming, there's no really story to this. I'm assuming this is the Buddha speaking. Here, having seen a form with the eye, a bhikkhu is intent upon a pleasing form and repelled by a displeasing form. He dwells without having set up mindfulness of the body with a limited mind, and he does not understand as it really is that liberation of mind, liberation by wisdom, wherein those evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. And it goes through the other senses, so having heard a sound with the ear, smell with the nose, taste with the tongue, tactile object with the body, and then having cognized a mental phenomena by way of with the mind, he is intent upon a pleasing mental phenomenon and repelled by a displeasing mental phenomenon. He dwells without having set up mindfulness of the body, with a limited mind, and he does not understand as it really is that liberation of mind, liberation by wisdom, wherein those evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. Suppose, bhikkhus, a man would catch 6 animals with different domains and different feeding grounds and tie them by a strong rope. He would catch a snake, a crocodile, a bird, a dog, a jackal, and a monkey, and tie each by a strong rope. Having done so, he would then tie the ropes together with a knot in the middle, and then he would release them. Then those 6 animals with different domains and different feeding grounds would each pull in the direction of its own feeding ground and domain. The snake would pull one way, thinking, "Let me enter an anthill." The crocodile would pull another way, thinking, "Let me enter the water." The bird would pull another way, thinking, "Let me fly up into the sky." The dog would pull another way, thinking, "Let me enter a village." The jackal would pull another way, thinking, "Let me enter a charnel ground." And the monkey would pull another way, thinking, "Let me enter a forest." Now when these 6 animals become worn out and fatigued, they would be dominated by the one among them that was strongest. They would submit to it and come under its control. So too, bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu has not developed and cultivated mindfulness directed to the body, the eye pulls in the direction of agreeable forms, and disagreeable forms are repulsive. The ear pulls in the direction of agreeable sound, and disagreeable sounds are repulsive. The nose pulls in the direction of agreeable odors, and disagreeable odors are repulsive. The tongue pulls in the direction of agreeable tastes, and disagreeable tastes are repulsive. The body pulls in the direction of agreeable tactile objects, and disagreeable tactile objects are repulsive. The mind pulls in the direction of agreeable mental phenomena, and disagreeable mental phenomena are repulsive. It is in such a way that there is non-restraint. And how, bhikkhus, is there restraint? Here, having seen a form with the eye, a bhikkhu is not intent upon a pleasing form and not repelled by a displeasing form. He dwells, having set up mindfulness of the body with a measureless mind, and he understands as it really is that the liberation of mind, liberation by wisdom, wherein those evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. And through the other senses, so having heard a sound with the ear, smell with the nose, taste with the tongue, physical sensation with the body, having cognized a mental phenomenon with the mind, he is not intent upon a pleasing mental phenomenon and not repelled by a displeasing mental phenomenon. He dwells, having set up mindfulness of the body with a measureless mind, and he understands as it really is that liberation of mind, liberation by wisdom, wherein those evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. It is in such a way that there is restraint. Suppose, bhikkhus, a man would catch 6 animals with different domains and different feeding grounds and tie them by a strong rope. He would catch a snake, a crocodile, a bird, a dog, a jackal, and a monkey, and tie each by a strong rope. Having done so, he would then bind them to a strong post or pillar. Then those 6 animals with different domains and different feeding grounds would each pull in the direction of its own feeding ground and domain. A snake would pull one way, etc. A crocodile one way, a bird one way, a dog one way, a jackal one way, and then a monkey would pull another way, thinking, "Let me enter a forest." Now when these 6 animals become worn out and fatigued, they would stand close to that post or pillar. They would sit down there, they would lie down there. So too, bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu has developed and cultivated mindfulness directed to the body, the eye does not pull in the direction of agreeable forms, nor are disagreeable forms repulsive. And then through the other senses, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and then the mind does not pull in the direction of agreeable mental phenomena, nor are disagreeable mental phenomena repulsive. It is in such a way that there is restraint. So, bhikkhus, a strong post or pillar, this is a designation for mindfulness directed to the body. Therefore, bhikkhus, you should train yourselves thus. We will develop and cultivate mindfulness directed to the body, make it our vehicle, make it our basis, stabilize it, exercise ourselves in it, and fully perfect it. Thus should you train yourselves. So I think it's probably enough for tonight. Just open it up to anybody who has questions for the Ajahns.
I have a question for you, Ajahn Khantiko. There's a note in the footnote in the Rohitassa Sutta saying that that's, I think I recall that it's, Bhikkhu Bodhi calls it like one of the most profound suttas. Essentially you can't get there by traveling. And I was just wondering if you could expound on that a little bit, why he thinks that sutta is so incredibly profound.
I can probably read the footnote. Yeah, I was actually thinking of reading the footnote anyway, so it might be worth just doing that. So, this is Bhikkhu Bodhi's words after he quotes some things from the commentary. He says, "This pithy utterance of the Buddha, which may well be the most profound proposition in the history of human thought," strong statement, is elucidated at the other sutta that I read by the Venerable Ananda, who explains that in the Noble One's discipline, the world is that in the world by which one is a perceiver and a conceiver of the world. In other words, the 6 sense bases. From Ananda's explanation, we can draw out the following implications. The world with which the Buddha's teaching is principally concerned is the world of experience. And even the objective world is of interest only to the extent that it serves as the necessary external condition for experience. But the world is identified with the 6 sense bases because the latter are the necessary internal conditions for experience, and thus for the presence of a world. As long as the 6 sense bases persist, a world will always be spread out before us as the objective range of perception and cognition. Thus, one cannot reach the end of the world by traveling, for wherever one goes, one inevitably brings along the 6 sense bases, which necessarily disclose a world extended on all sides. Nevertheless, by reversing the direction of the search, it is possible to reach the end of the world. For if the world ultimately stems from the 6 sense bases, then by bringing an end to the 6 sense bases, it is possible to arrive at the end of the world. Now, the 6 sense bases are themselves conditioned, having arisen from a chain of conditions rooted in one's own ignorance and craving. Thus, by removing ignorance and craving, the re-arising of the 6 sense bases can be prevented, and therewith the manifestation of the world is terminated. This end of the world cannot be reached by traveling, but it can be arrived at by cultivating the Noble Eightfold Path. Perfect development of the path brings about the eradication of ignorance and craving, and with their removal, the underlying ground is removed for the renewed emergence of the 6 senses, and therewith for the reappearance of a world.
Ajahn Khantiko, if someone reads that and they're maybe slightly new to Buddhism, or they're trying to kind of understand it more, how would they say, well, isn't that annihilationism? The end of the world, the end of the 6 sense bases? That's a question.
Yeah, no. It could really, whether it's what kind of ending it is, you could kind of investigate, what method the person takes in order to get to the end. So if they take a certain method which involves a view of annihilationism and involves certain actions, then and they were attempting to carry that out to the end of the world by that method and that view, then I think they could do that. But that would be a misunderstanding of the teaching. So it is hard, like in this kind of a sutta, there's not a lot of context for it. So I would just suggest people to try to fill out the context a bit, like Bhikkhu Bodhi points out in the footnote. He just emphasizes the Noble Eightfold Path, and this is emphasized, when he says the arising of the world, the cause, cessation, and the path. So the full Eightfold Path is mentioned in the text, but it's kind of set in there. So if you don't overlook that, and you kind of resolve back and say, okay, well, in order to reach the end of the world in the way of this teaching, I need to practice the Eightfold Path. And then by that way, it's kind of a safeguard to coming into a wrong view like that.
Practice this association jumping up in of a sutta that kind of refers to warning against not involving oneself with objectifying the non-objectifiable, or proliferating on that which is beyond proliferation, which is it's just kind of something about where the six sense bases end, and that's the end of being able to objectify or proliferate on, so that when you're speculating about the status of a being after they've passed beyond the six sense bases, then you're trying to objectify the non-objectifiable. I'm not remembering it very well, but do you remember that one, Paul or Ajahn?
Yeah, I remember it, but I don't remember. It's something like
I'm glad I'm not. Same. Okay. There's something that addresses this, I think.
Yeah. Well, also, I think one of the things that this is where, like Prapayuto's, it's a major footnote in his treatise Buddha Dhamma and on his elucidation of dependent origination, about the problematic nature of the word nirodha, which is translated as cessation in English. It's translated basically as cessation in Thai, that it's hard to find another, so that dukkha nirodha, loka nirodha, like the cessation of the world, the cessation of dukkha, or the cessation of the six sense bases, it's using that same word of nirodha. But he said the problem is that it's just as equally valid to translate it as, especially when you're looking for one word. It's a functional enough word, but you also have to get the nuance of what nirodha is about, and it's in the nuances of the word nirodha. It's also meaning like non-arising, or no longer a problem, so that with the cessation, or how do you say, one practices for the cessation of the world, but it's more like one practices for the non-arising of the world, or practicing for the world no longer being a problem. And then that's, of course, that folds into the Eightfold Path and the practice of Sila, Samadhi, Panya, and the whole path opening up into this experience of the six sense bases not creating a problem, not creating dukkha, not creating complication.
I feel I'm appreciating that you're explaining more nuance about what this ending of the world is, and I guess I'm looking for more clarification as to what cessation means in this context, because I thought that, well, I'll tell you something that I think I heard, which is that there's the formless realms, and as you get into more subtle...
Yeah, the formless realms are still something.
Right,
but
then...
still something, and it's still part of the world.
Uh-huh. And then there's cessation, which is not the formless realms.
Right.
And it's but that
even
feels like just a not normal experience.
Yes, there's definitely not a normal experience, which is why it's, there is a a subtlety there that really needs to be. One needs to develop the clarity of mind and heart, and the ability to, in order to perceive it, so that one is no longer a perceiver of the world or a conceiver of the world through the experience of the six sense bases, and then, but then that takes one into a realm of clear knowing and a clear relinquishment.
So, to me, that clear knowing where you're not there's no perceiver or conceiver of the world anymore.
Right.
That feels different from this like cessation, not normal experience that I've heard of.
Yeah, because that's how we would tend to conceive of cessation is an ending of this, or a cessation of this, or an annihilation of this, and that's exactly what is the Buddha is trying to avoid, these two extremes of where the mind goes to the affirmation of the world and the negation of the world. It's through this middle way that there is a possibility of liberation.
So these two concepts that are different.
Yeah.
And the one that this sutta is referring to is the latter?
Well, I mean, what it's pointing to is the possibility of liberation,
which is to not have a perceiver and conceiver of the world,
yeah,
but not a negation of the world.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, these are the fundamental views. This is the Sasada Ditti and the Ucheda Ditti. Those are two again, the affirmation of the world, that being pulled into, drawing into the world and reaffirming the world and one's place in the world, and then the negation and trying to push it away, trying to make it cease. Those are the two poles of view that entangle us in constant re-becoming, rebirth.
Is this teaching I feel it's somewhat related to the teaching the Buddha gave to Bahia too, right? In the seen, only the seen. Is there a relationship there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how do you say? That's the short version. That's the sort of straight through.
Just what you were just talking about. The two extremes of annihilationism or eternalism. The way that's summed up in the Kachanagota Sutta, where the Buddha says that the world or people are shackled by usually one of two views, that of annihilationism or that of eternalism. But that for one who sees the ceasing of the world, the cessation of the world, there is no concept of eternalism. And for one who rightly sees the arising of the world, and again, the world of the six sense bases, there is no conceiving of annihilationism, and that it's the middle way by seeing neither of those or believing in those, then one is able to realize the middle way, and then he goes into the dependent origination from ignorance arises, etc., all the way through suffering. Pointing back to the teaching that the Buddha emphasizes, the ending of suffering, not the annihilationism or the eternalism of the world.